think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Oh, my light. It got really bright. It was fixed earlier. Hold on one second. It's probably not really better, but whatever. Medium? No. It's alright. Hey, what's up, Iggy? So, right now this is bothering me. I had this set up really well earlier. Alright, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. So, we had a retro tournament for the first time ever, at least officially. I think there might have been one retro actually in the community before this, but we had one big grand tournament series. That's why it's called the Retro Series, and it was an exploratory format to figure out basically what needs to be banned. Oh, I'm like on top of my chat. I was testing this earlier, but there was no chat. That's right. Okay, hold on. I'll need to be here at some point because of the way Tam's layout is. So there's probably not a good way to do this, but we'll figure it out. All right, anyways. I'm going to let this play in the background while I talk. So in the retro series, we played a bunch of tournaments on TTS to try to figure out what needs to be banned from retro. I won 2 of these tournaments, and I don't think either of them survived YouTube. I don't think either of them got uploaded to YouTube, which pretty sad. Pretty sad. If anyone ever finds this, if the guys at TCG University somehow uncover old footage of me winning Retro Series 3 and 5, I think, or 3 and 6, please let me know. I think there's actually footage from like all of them except those 2. But so in this tournament, or in those tournaments, we basically banned whatever won a tournament. A couple of decks might have survived, like Lord Raptor won based off of like a disqualification, so they didn't really ban Lord Raptor, right? But it was the point was to figure out what's too broken, and there was a whole bunch of bans added to the list as we went on, and some things got unbanned, and that was really cool. They had some preliminary bans that they figured these cards were problematic in the past, and we should probably deal with them, as a precautionary measure, because we're pretty sure that they're busted anyways. So we did some unbanning, which was maybe the coolest part of all of that, was kind of finding out like Iori 2, not really broken, not really too good for this. At the end of the 6 tournaments, based on your points that you got for top cutting, I can't remember if you automatically got an invite for winning one, but basically, you got enough points from winning one that you qualified. I don't think anyone that won one of the retro series didn't qualify, right? And I missed the first 2. I was really bummed out. I didn't have a way to play TTS at the time. This is basically what encouraged me to go out and get a shitty little laptop and figure out TTS. That laptop, for reference, ended up dying because I played Street Fighter 5, and after 30 minutes there was an emergency, and I got up and I left, and I didn't come back for about an hour. So about an hour and 30 minutes of Street Fighter 5 being turned on, the laptop burnt out. Like, I don't know if it was a battery issue, I don't know if the screen died or what, but it would not turn on. Like, I could not figure it out. Didn't have the money to fix it. Wasn't good anyways. But I never found out what was wrong with it, but it just died while playing Street Fighter 5 on like the lowest settings. like truly the most awful graphics ever. um, but yeah, so that's what got me into retro, I guess technically as well. But I just I saw all these people playing, and they were having so much fun, and they were playing all these cool decks with all these cool cards, and they were winning some really cool prizes. There was some really nice promos. Probably the first time ever that there was promos from events that people were wanting to buy. The first time ever that people were actually like really excited, and there was like a secondary market in this game for event promos. And they were just like foil. I don't even know if it was new art. I think they just like did like a really stylized foiling and updated the borders because we had yet another like card design layout change. So once we get to the end of the series, there's an invitational, and the invitational rules are sort of conquest, not really conquest. You build 3 decks, and then you present them to your opponent. I guess I can skip back to when we did that at the beginning of this. So you present the 3 characters to your opponent, and your opponent bans one, and then you secretly pick one, and then play a best of 3. So one deck never gets used, one deck gets banned, and you play with the 3rd deck basically in a normal match. And this was a double elimination bracket. So if you saw the video title is Winners Top 8. So this is basically the second round of the tournament for people who won the first round of the 16-person invitational. And so I'm playing against Jacob. I believe the winner of the dice roll got to pick whether they wanted to ban second or go first. So there's a slight advantage to getting to pick your ban second, and kind of see what your opponent wanted to ban first, I guess. But you had to, winner of the dice roll pretty much always pick to go first, which means they would also ban first. And here I brought Lord Raptor because he was like the one deck that beat me in a final, or not even in a finals, but like eliminated probably the best character I played, which is Terry, from a tournament. I built a fake Morrigan deck. This Morrigan deck was only meant to get me through my round 1 opponent because I knew that my round 1 opponent would not ban it. And realistically, the Terry deck would probably beat anything else too, but they're like very similar. This deck has no legitimate offense. It simply has ridiculous speed plus and minus abilities. Basically, you're trying to give +6 or -6 speed as much as possible. And I believe the lowest number this deck can give is -3 or +3 speed. It's just a 6-hand size life character that cannot die to regular, I guess, generic offense. And I knew that my round 1 opponent would play like a very aggro string-based deck. So I built the deck specifically to win that round, and then I felt like between Terry or Lord Raptor, I could win the rest of the tournament. However, I also felt like in the same vein, this deck would beat a Nightmare and a Shiva both. And so all I had to do was ban the Lord Raptor right there, and then I can pick Morrigan versus Nightmare. The Nightmare deck is basically a throw deck. You'll probably see as it goes on. If you're not familiar with Retro, I'll try to point some stuff out. But the main focus of this story isn't really the tournament necessarily, but this is the background, right? So, the reason I didn't pick Lord Raptor here is simply because Lord Raptor is a little squishy, and Nightmare is one of the best aggro decks in this format. But he's still a 6-hand size aggro deck that has, kind of fake damage. He has +2 damage on every attack, which in this format was passable. It was static. It was a continuous ability, which did make it better. But so I felt very confident in this matchup because I can block pretty much any number of attacks. And Nightmare's whole thing is when you block his attack, he gets to add it back to his hand. So my deck that is, down to block a million times very easily is okay with you replaying an attack. The other thing Nightmare does is when you block his attack, he makes you mill. And you lose 1 health every time you mill, I believe, an attack card. Or is it non-attack card? It's one of the two. But you mill based on the card type, you lose health. So if you mill 3 of the wrong card type, you can potentially burn 3 for blocking, which I was kind of ready for. I've got some health gain in this deck. It is a life symbol deck, and you know, I was still pretty confident. But what I didn't realize is how absolutely awful the offense truly was. It was good enough in the first round. And so I felt still pretty confident in the offense. And here we've got Jacob attacking on turn 1. This was legal back at the time, and this was one of the best things this deck could be doing, especially since my character, who reduces a bunch of speed, is committed, so I can't do my character ability. Now, if you'll see what happens here, right? Where is it? Ooh. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, so this is takedown, I believe. This is a 2 low for 4. Nightmare gives it +2 damage. He has like a gimmick that I won't really explain. You have to have like double the damage of the printed speed or whatever it is. And then he gives it +2 damage. So he plays very specific attacks. But they then made every fucking attack on his symbols like for him in a weird way. But so this attack is Ignited Arrow. If you know Ignited Arrow, or it's not Ignited Arrow, sorry, it's opposite Ignited Arrow. It's if it deals, you get to Ignited Arrow. But because Nightmare says when you block, you add it back to your hand, right? So this is a deck that has, I think, like 14 attacks. It could be as low as 12. It was not meant to really attack. These attacks were picked for their block mods, not for their effects or damage, basically. So when Nightmare mills you 3, for every attack you mill, you lose a health. So I'm going to mill 2 attacks off the first one and burn for 2. This is going to go back to his hand, but I'm going to reversal him and say that if you don't completely block this attack, you have to commit your character, which doesn't matter really anymore. He's already gotten his characters once per turn off. And then the commit effect will just be like -1 resource. But this is, you know, one of the few attacks that's in the deck. I guess this one does +2 or -2 because it's based on the control minus the block or something like that. I forget exactly what Morgan's whole gimmick, what the exact numbers are, but the whole point is I mill a card and I get like a Rodan style speed ability. So we're going to commit his character. Everything seems super good. Everything seems super fine. I'm going to speed this up a little bit because TTS gameplay can be a little worrisome. And we were also like playing in probably the biggest tournament that like we had played in years. This is during COVID. If I didn't mention that before, this is during the pandemic. So this was like the only sweaty thing we had to do. You know, so I get a hit for 4 there. He gets to get another attack, and he's finally going to build. That's his turn 1. That's his, you know, before building any foundations turn. I have taken like 8 damage. I have taken 7 or 8 damage here. So the MHA starter decks were out. We were using the MHA starter decks so passing the torch was kind of a big deal for stuff like this. I've got Time Slow in my hand, which when I put it in my card pool, all my rivals checks get -1, which is tight. And then he's got the 6 diff from Hell. From Hell is one of those attacks where if you don't block it, you get absolutely fucking destroyed. You take like 13 damage. It's based on the control though, and I play a lot of 6 checks to get the maximum Morrigan speed bonus. Because I'm starting to remember. It's like control minus the block mod. So if you have a 6 check with a 0 block, you get +6. That's why you might see a character card or 2 in this deck. And her own support are like 6 checks with +1s or like 3 checks with +0s and stuff like that. So I've got the high block for this. He gets -1 to all of his checks. He's totally committed out. Everything is super fine. I'm gonna mill. I don't mill and take any damage. We get to do the sick reversal trick. I think if you're reading chat right now, I think it's Kevin Broberg and Tam Cardwell, and Kevin's like talking shit about how fraudulent my Morgan deck is, which he would be correct. He would be 100% correct. So we're gonna draw a card, and everything seems chill. Everything seems cool. I hit him with 2 reversals. We're tied on health. I might even win game 1. You know, just to spoil where things are going here. Oh, not to mention, Morgan has an ability where you pay 3 health to hack a check, which is pretty sick. You see, I got Templar in hand. I got a little bit of health gain there. So, is the homie running Templar? Of course. Of course. Chat's asking, can Sam's deck kill a fly? No, it cannot. That is not what it's there for. Confronting Jetta is about the only way. Confronting Jetta says, I can turn a speed bonus into a damage bonus, basically. You can take all the bonus speed you give something, and then you can turn that into a damage bonus. So if you give it like a total plus 10 speed, you give it plus 10 damage, and it's based on where the attack speed currently is. So, you know, he's getting stunned out. Time Slow is a card that heals me. You know, it's got gain 2 health. It's got fake speed on it. I'm putting real speed on it. Everything's big chillin'. Dude, it's actually crazy to look back and see how slow we played back then. There is like stuff happening, you know, it's being vocalized over TTS. But this is still like embarrassingly slow even for me. Even for me. Plant Barrier stacks the top of my deck when I play it, so that way I can get the correct speed bonus. I put a character on top, we get plus 6 speed. We're going to get even more speed. These are unblockably fast for like almost no damage. Here comes the Confronting Jetta. Makes it lethal. And there we go. That's game 1 for 13 damage. We gave a 4 damage move plus 9 speed. We gave it plus 9 damage. That's exactly how I drew it up in my head. That's exactly what I imagined was going to happen. Chat's flaming me. That's totally normal. I'm ready for that. The commentators say Phil Birch, Tam Cardwell, but chat was talking about Kevin, so I don't know. I know Phil Birch did a lot of the commentary on this, but Kevin also jumped in. Oh no, Kevin's in chat. Broberg's in chat. So I'm totally confident in this matchup still. This is everything I want to see. And now the best part is the best part is someone said the Cassandra side, but it's wrong. It's the other one. Within these decks, you're allowed to play characters. I can't remember if we actually had sideboards. I think we did, but the rules for UVS are at the start of the game, you search through your deck for your starting character. And like tournament rules, you have to announce which one you're going to start with every time, right? But back in the day, your starting character is part of your deck. And so at the start of the game, even if you don't have a sideboard, you go through your deck to pick the character to start with. So because Morgan lets me play a bunch of extra characters in the deck, I also had other sideboard characters. Theoretically, again, I don't think we actually had sideboards here. So in the same vein of stopping my opponent, you know, from ever killing me, I have Sophitia, who has this attack gets +2 or -2 speed, which is not as strong as Morrigan's speed reduction, but Morrigan doesn't, Sophitia doesn't pay health the way that Morrigan does for one of her abilities. Sophitia has 2 extra starting health, and this is a deck that burns me for blocking. And then if it deals less than its printed damage, you commit one of your opponent's foundations. And a lot of the attacks, or a lot of the best attacks in the Nightmare deck, are throws. And those are really what I'm afraid of. We didn't see too many in game one, and he hasn't drawn one here yet. But the cards I'm really afraid of are the throws, because the throws are like 10 damage. You block them and take 5, and then you probably burn 1 or 2 elsewhere. And then Sophitia also has, after an attack is blocked, commit one of your opponent's foundations. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm up a game. I don't think these were untimed rounds yet. They might have been, because it was a top cut technically. But my thought process is I have a little bit more health. I don't need -2 speed on attacks like takedown, you know? I don't need like the extra speed pump or reduction unless it's like exactly confronting Jeddah. But I'm thinking he's not going to play that many foundations. He's going to attack me over and over again. And I've got the read. I've already got the first game in the bag. So I can now, you know, side, so to speak, into Sophitia and abuse his foundation count. Mainboard Sophitia, not sideboard technically. So I'm going second. My character's ready. So this is Dark Reconquista Purgatory, I believe. It should be pay 3 health. I can either lose 6 or I can commit my character. So I choose to lose the 6 because I've got double Templar in hand, which means if he attacks twice, I can block twice and gain 4. And I draw a third Templar, which is fucking sick. The problem is that he's willing to lose the 3 again. And I think this is where I made a mistake. I think I should not have burnt the 6 the second time. And I think I got greedy here because I blocked with the Morrigan. Because I didn't want to get jammed on character cards. I was more willing to hold Templars later than to hold character cards. And also, it's been a while. I don't know, remember exactly, but the play there was almost certainly to play the Templars. And unfortunately, at the time, I think at the time, the Templars were errata to not have Breaker 1, and I felt like Breaker blocks would be more effective later on in the game. But he then attacked me again, you know, and I was going to take partial. So let me break this down really quick because I believe I started at 17. You know, we're going to block a 6 damage move for half. I'm going to gain 2 to 19. Then I lose 3 for blocking for half. Then I have the Sophitia. I gained 2 earlier, huh? I don't remember the exact math now. I don't know exactly what I started at. I might have missed something earlier, but this was okay. So this was at 17 on block. Okay. Yeah, so gain up to 19, right? Or lose 1 for blocking on the mill, because that's a triggered effect. Then Sophitia on block. Then gain 2, draw 2. Then take 3. Okay, so yeah, the Nightmare Burn went first. Yeah. So after all that, after blocking and gaining 2, I still ended up losing like 4 afterwards. But we still have a Templar, but that's 2 of them down. And now I have Noob in hand, which is a character that when you block with it, you can respond after the rival plays a whatchamacallit. After your rival plays another attack after that, you can reduce the damage by printed, so it like zeroes it out. It was really strong. It got ratted to noob only because people were doing like what I'm doing. which is putting it like in every deck as a crazy block trick. And it also works for your own attack to double the damage. So that was like, I guess the other way I could win the game is by making something unblockably fast for double damage. Here's a Firestorm block, which is also a +0 mid. And then the response on that is you have to pay 4 health or you can't destroy foundations for the rest of the turn, which is a way to protect mine, but it's mostly a throwaway ability. But what it does say is when I block with it, I can play it during the next turn. So this gives me a little bit of consistency and why I didn't need like a ton of attack cards, because I can play this as an attack during my turn next turn. But unfortunately, it's still not a very good attack. And Sophia is not actually a very good character, unfortunately. So I'm going to reveal the top card of my deck. And then when I reveal a card, I can flip English Aristocrat to gain 3 health. So that's just kind of a wheel spinny move. But you can see that as I'm blocking, I'm still losing too much health. Like I went down from what, 15? Went from like 14 to 11, right? When I blocked. Then I have to pay health to not get my character committed. So I'm losing a lot of health because I'm playing a character that needs to play defense. And that's like the part that I sort of missed, about this matchup, is if I want to keep using Sophia to be able to block these attacks, then I need to pay the health. And realistically, I probably should just let him commit my character at some point. I should have just let him commit me. And I used blueprints to stack a 6, and then he made us both mill 2. So that was a very cool tech. I revealed a 2 on top. I stacked a 6, and then he milled us both. But because it's milled 2, I didn't have to check the 2 again. So I blocked this attack. He's going to bounce it back into his hand. It's going to get -8 damage because that's its printed damage. But it's got +4 from other effects. I'm going to pay this 6 again. And I think I was just really prideful. Like, I think I was just feeling myself a little too much. But in my head, I'm respecting his offense. Because now he's got +2/+2, so I need the -2 speed. And most of my foundations are committed. So in my head, I needed the character ready. It's just this character is only -2 speed, and now he's got speed pumps. Whereas before I had -6 speed, and he was playing like the slowest things possible. And I'm pretty sure I block with Templar, and I fail it because it's on a 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's rough. We got to go back to the drawing board a little bit. I swap back into the Morrigan here, deciding that I need the better speed reduction. First form revoke, I get to build it face down. Foundations get -1 speed, but I have a garbage opener. This is not a good opener. Only 2 foundations. One of them's blank already. But this one doesn't count towards progressive. I reviewed an attack, drew another one in its place. Still not great. My attacks are good, though. They have good block mods, correct, block zones for the most part, except I can't block a takedown. I built my 0 low block instead of holding it. That's okay. We've got a reduction. This will give all of his attacks +2/+2. So this was kind of the thing. I didn't build very well with Sophia last game either. Right? Only having, 4 foundations or something all game. So this deck just didn't have great ratios. I didn't have great draw power outside of Templars. But I really love this plant barrier tech. I get a +0 block. I get to breaker 1. I get to stack my deck, which guarantees my reversal, which is sick. And this time the reversal kind of matters. Because if I get his character committed, he doesn't get to respond and bounce an attack back to his hand on block. He doesn't want to respond and play reduction again. He wants to play a move with reduction in the card pool twice. especially since now he's got throws. These moves will be for 12 damage, so you block and take 6 plus whatever you burn, and then he gets to play it again. So that's really what he's trying to do. If I can make him block a 7 high move, then he probably has to commit his character anyways. So again, feeling really good here, feeling super confident. Love to see it. I also have Gauge, which I could have, or someone said Gauge time. No, this is the wrong one. No, I don't have Gauge. Or, oh, I do. Wait, I stacked the other Morgan. That's right. I have the asset that gives Gauge. So I have the asset that gives Gauge. I figured why not put the other Morgan in the deck. I totally forgot about this, dude. This deck kind of had some sauce, but none of it's good sauce. This is the most casual deck I've ever registered in a tournament. So this Morgan was considered not good. I played this in my sideboard at one tournament. I think one other person played it like main board, but this character was just not good. She has discard 1 attack. Your attack gets +2 speed and +2 damage. If it is blocked, add the discarded attack to your hand. Granted, at the time, giving an attack +2 speed and +2 damage multiple times in a turn was fucking bonkers. Let me repeat that. +2/+2, more than on like your first attack, more than on like one attack. Fucking crazy good. Discarding an attack, not worth it. Even if you get it back on block, it is not worth. Like if they don't block it, you discarded an attack for 2 damage. So not good, right? And then response commit after your opponent makes a check to play an on-foundation card, it gets -2. And then your next check gets +2. That's why I really like this character. So I gave this reversal a keyword that says if it deals 5 or more damage, I get to search my deck and auto stack this. So I have 2 check hacks on my character now. Because remember, this first Morgan says I can respond to pay 3 life, and you get -3 to your check. And yeah, she is pretty bleh. She's very bleh. I have Sunrunned exactly one person in a PTC with it out of my sideboard, and it was like a 17 health character. It was like a character that loses health and starts with like sub 20. So that's how lucky I had to get. But now I have 2 check hacks. So I would expect myself here. Yeah, I'm going to pay the 3. He's going to opt to fail it. He's going to play another throw. I'm going to check hack it again. He's going to choose to fail it. And then he's going to be forced to build. So I am fucking pie in the sky at this point. Everything's going my way. I'm getting my second character stacked. I'm making him discard attacks basically by failing checks. He has no cards in hand, and I've got Time Slow. Time Slow is a big stun on top of it. It's got some health gain. Granted, it's a card I really prefer to block with, but, you know, this is looking amazing. By the way, can you explain how stacking works? I'm not familiar with how the mechanic actually works. You basically described it. They get added to your stage when you play them, and your starting character gains all the abilities on the stacked character. So when you see me commit this card, I have to commit my regular character. So the ability is being played on my starting character. So my starting character commits for cost, and then this character card has to stay in the same state the starting character card is. So I have response commit on my starting character now. This other character card kind of doesn't matter. It like exists attached to my character, but all it's doing is giving its abilities to the starting character. That's it. And you can only stack 1 copy. If I had like 2 of the other Morgan here, I can't get 2 copies of their effects. If you stack your starting character twice, you don't get any additional effects. You can't commit them for control checks. They don't really exist. They're just attached and providing abilities. Almost like a skill tree. They're kind of like the was it shadow leveling, solo leveling, it's like the solo leveling skill tree kind of. It just sort of gives your starting character abilities. So I got a big build turn. I've got two high blocks and a low block. I'm feeling absolutely wonderful. I got my double check hacks here. I even got passing the torch. We can draw a card here. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. I got a momentum for protecting the protector. He can't destroy or commit my stuff, which his deck doesn't really do, but I think it tries to flip. I think he's got Servant of Ares. They have to match the same name and IP. There's technically like two Goros and two Kings. But yeah, they have to be the same character from the same universe. Otherwise, the card would just get discarded from the transit zone. We got the same opener with reduction here. I think I just choose to take it. For the first time, I don't have a mid block, and I'm like, I can just take the, 2-3 damage? And he plays a Zuna drop, which is a flash throw, which means I don't get any of my speed reduction, but I've got this asset that I can block with from my stage that says I only take 1 damage from any attack blocked with it, but he can respond with his character, and once again, I'm looking at a 10 damage throw that has flash. Not that I really have any, solid defenses anyways. So I'm thinking about which check hacks to use here. I opt not to use any check hacks. I end up taking 5. He's going to play yet another throw, this time on a 7. He checks a 4 now because of my time slow. And this is one of my least favorite cards ever printed. This is a throw that says you can pay 2 health. It can't be partially blocked. So it's a mid throw. It's currently got plus 8 damage on it. I think I changed the zone here. I think that's what this is doing. I'm pretty sure this is Amy's asset, if I'm not mistaken, because it gave me the gauge one and it has a zone change effect. And I have to change the zone of this attack so that I can completely block it, which is super annoying. But without it, this would be unblockable lethal. It's also still 6 speed. And so we're going to block with a 0 low on a 6, 7, 8. I'm going to have to figure out if I can pass it. Or did I give it minus speed? I might have given it minus speed that we just didn't mark. 3. That was on a 6. I missed something. I think we just... Oh, I had plus 2 to my check for Morgan. That's what it is. I did the Morgan response to commit him out. And we got the plus 2 to our check there. So I'm down to 6, even though I'm completely blocking wink, wink, everything. And I had throw hate. But my deck has, like, no offense. So... Broberg's clowning on me, said this is what it looks like when your deck can't kill a fly. But this went, everything was going my way, right? And technically I bricked, by the way. It's not that my deck couldn't kill a fly. I drew 2 attacks, all right? Even if those were like the 2 best attacks in the world, they don't necessarily kill Nightmare, all right? But he's not wrong. The deck wasn't really built to kill things. So we're playing against another throw now. This throw is for just 10. Just for 10. And once I take this damage, I'm not going to be able to pay for my character's first check hack, the minus 3 anymore. I did the over the top to look at the top card. I did not English aristocrat though. I guess it's look not reveal. So one of the things that's unfortunate is I have the ability to gain 3 health when I reveal the top card of my deck, but this card does not reveal, it just lets me look. So I'm gonna mill here, lose a health, and this is for 12. I'm gonna gain 2 to go to 7. Oh man, I didn't draw any kind of throw hate. So there was an idea someone mentioned to block with noob, and oops, somebody mentioned blocking with noob and reduce the second. Oh, it was Phil. It wasn't. Yeah, Broberg was in chat. So here, if I block with the noob, I just die. Right. This is more than 10 damage. This is 12 damage on a partial, or 14. This is 14, so I would take 7 on a partial at this point. So if I block with the noob here, I just die and I can't do the response on the next one. So I needed to draw a way out of the throw, and I just never had it. So this deck was constantly just lobbing 12, 14 damage throws game 2. And it was very bipolar. This match, this match just went super back and forth. I needed like a reversal that could ready passing the torch, that could draw me something else, and I don't think anything else really existed. I don't think there was anything that would allow me. The one thing I should have done is I should have made him make the check, but I think even if he checks a 1, I don't think he had 2s in the deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, even with the Morrigan hack, it wasn't going to work. So that's us in winner's top 8. The thing is, this was a double elimination tournament, though. So we go to grand finals. And Jacob is in the winner's bracket still, undefeated. And I'm in the loser's bracket that he put me there. And because of the way double elimination works, I have to win 2 matches. I have to eliminate Jacob twice. But now I've learned my lesson. Now I understand it. What's that guy? I don't know his tag, but if you've seen the meme, there's a guy, he fails a trick shot and then he goes, I understand it now, and then it's like all trick shots. Anyways, I understand it. I know now. I understand it now. So we go into this, and I know that Nightmare is the only thing I can't deal with. I'm confident in the Lord Raptor matchup. I just have to not pick Morrigan. That's all. This deck isn't real. It won my top 16 match because that's what it needed to do. It won the first round of the day for me like I built it to do, and I wasn't supposed to pick it for any reason. There's no world where I'm supposed to pick this deck. The problem is that it has a really bad Lord Raptor matchup. Yeah, it is like a fighting tournament. We did double elim, which I like double elim. I just wish we did actual conquest. Because if we did actual conquest, I probably would have never registered this Morrigan deck. But again, the idea was like I can't play I'm not supposed to pick the Morrigan deck, and I picked it 2 rounds in a row because I felt like I was up against similar threats, and they just weren't that similar. So this time, he bans first. He bans Terry. I ban Nightmare. I flick that shit off the table. And then, I'm so tired of Nightmare, bro. Like, he's second to Scorpion still, I think, because there is more sauce for Nightmare, but definitely one of the characters I hate the most. Like, truly, truly hate the most. So I have to win 2 matches. He should be going first. I don't know if we had. I don't think we dice rolled. I think we had adopted like higher seed picks by this point. And then we both load in our decks and we secretly reveal our characters. Oh, did I not? I probably didn't up the speed on this one, did I? Only 2. Ooh. So we're both playing Lord Raptor. So I ban the Nightmare, he bans the Terry, and I'm like, all I have to do is not play Morrigan. I can win the Lord Raptor mirror, and Lord Raptor versus Shiva is scary, but he saw my Morrigan deck, and Morrigan should be really good into Shiva, because Shiva I don't think was like all throws and stuff. And I think Jacob had said he wasn't really planning to play the Shiva deck after the tournament. I think he said his Shiva deck was kind of fake too. A lot of people brought like a third deck they had no intention to use just because that's how the rules were set up, that you could do that. I intended to use my third deck, but only once. I tried it twice and got punished for it. So he goes first and he builds. I have a 3 difficulty attack in my hand, and Lord Raptor says after a flash attack is played, you can make the rival destroy a committed foundation. So Leg Shredder makes him commit one, and he has the card that prevents destruction, or at least a better one than I had. So I need to get him to cancel this. And in my head, I think Jacob Monsieur, sorry. I know I'm going to do that at least once more. Jacob Monsieur won't block with an attack. I don't believe he'll do it. Lord Raptor gives all your flash attacks breaker 2, but I imagine that he will be too greedy to block with a flash attack, and especially if it's not the right zone. So I've got a decent chance that he doesn't even have the right zone in hand, but unfortunately he does. He has a Leg Shredder, so he's going to be able to breaker to me here. And I'm going to have to find a way out of this. Now, I had a really sick play where I could check a 5 and clear this and draw 2 cards, but the breaker 2 says I can't do that, so I'm just forced to build. I build a card that prevents destruction effects, but only if it's played on an attacker foundation, not on the character card, which is unfortunate. And now Jacob's basically going to do the same thing back to me. He's going to play a Leg Shredder, but I don't have Ageless and Wise, so I'm going to end up... Whoop. Oh, when he plays the character ability, I respond with my Superior Technique to add a card to my hand, which that card is also Leg Shredder. So he's going to open with a Leg Shredder. I'm going to block with a Leg Shredder. And this matchup is not that interesting. Like, truly, it's just not that fun or cool. But I'm pretty far behind at this point just because he actually did get the destruction effect. But the breaker is going to even things out. It's going to make it really hard for anyone to really take like an early advantage. But Lord Raptor is so good at poking that it still behooves you to attack. So Lord Raptor here is going to play a kneecapper on a 4. He's going to check a 3, have to commit 1. And he's going to give this 2 damage. If it gets blocked, it clears his card pool. So this is not that risky of a play. And he also has Superior Technique, which he's going to play on a 6. I'm actually going to correct him and help him out. It's on a 5, so he doesn't have to commit that one. Because Superior Technique is one of the most broken cards of all time. I probably should have just played the Superior Technique and risked it last turn, but, you know, it is what it is. So it discards a card from the card pool for cost, so it reduces its own cost by 1. And then he gets to play a Zuna drop on a 6. But this time he's got his character committed. And we're just swinging. We're both swinging as much as we can. Obviously, I'm taking the rougher end of it here. But he doesn't have an Ageless and Wise either, so I'm gonna get Leg Shredder in to make him commit 1. I'm gonna make him destroy 1 that's committed. It's his choice. Probably gonna put 2 speed on this to prevent it from getting breaker blocked, hopefully. And then I get to play High Seas Adventure, which is the most blank 3/4 in this entire matchup. High Seas Adventure is a foundation that removes itself to give an attack flash. They all have flash. We're going to Taguro Brothers, the Showtime, one of the most broken actions of all of UVS. Your rival cancel an ability on a foundation and destroy it, and it can clear the card pool or draw a card. So we're just going tit for tat here. Flash attack, get blocked. Flash attack, get blocked. 10 to 12, something gets in. He's playing around the breaker with the 3 diff here. I'm going to use Healed by a Shaman, another broken card, which says you discard your hand. You add a flash attack from discard pile to your hand, which I'm going to get to go and pick. Instead of a +2 low block, I'm going to pick a +2 high block, maybe. I don't think I can actually block this though. So I'm actually gonna pick up a Stinging Skull, which is a pretty punishing low attack. Which means I'm just setting up for next turn. I'm down to 4 health. But I drew 5 fucking attacks, and they're all cheap, and they're all for huge damage. So the staging areas don't get very big. There's not a lot of abilities being played here. And I'm going to try to make these unblockably fast. This is a 4 damage move. When it deals damage, you lose 2 health, so it's basically like 6. I can just play another one here. He's going to make a check. He's going to die to the burn. And that's it. Game 1. Just like last time. Everything's absolutely fine. So for game 2, no sideboard action. Oop. Oh, did I? Oh, I pressed 0. My bad. My bad, guys. I'm bad at this. I'm bad at watching YouTube. Whoops, that's a spoiler. Honk, honk. So this is, this is game 2 right here. He's going to build 2 assets and a foundation. This tournament also took all day, by the way. Chat's talking about how it's 1 a.m. on the East Coast. That means about this point it was 10 o'clock here, 10 p.m. Yep. A lot of Lord Raptor's attacks block themselves. So we're basically just going to be playing the same attack, blocking itself over and over and over again. He's only got 1 foundation here. He's still going to go for it with the Breaker 2 because he's got 3 diff. Put some speed on that. My Ageless and Wise is committed. Got the Superior Technique on a 5. Fails it. Turn over. Unfortunately, all of my attacks are weapons except for like 1, I think. So they can be sealed by Soul Caliber. I just don't know if that is even enough here. You can see in the chat, they're talking about Shiva does murder raptors. Keep that in mind. That's foreshadowing. Chat's talking about Shiva murders raptors. Someone said ban Raptor and not ban Terry. Bold. You gotta ban Terry, dude. No one knew how to play against it. I don't know if it was like that broken. I think it was, just under broken, and maybe you could hit other cards in it, but Terry was a menace. Terry was a really strong character in this format. So I'm gonna partial block here though. Things are looking a little scary. I get my Ageless and Wise off to cancel the Toguro brothers. And we're gonna force him to build out. He still has 1 foundation, which just seems like really, really awful luck. This looks familiar with Stinging Skull on a 4. He's got a pretty sick hand, though. They're just not the right block zones, and he's not checking well. He's got the Breaker 2 here. Oh, I almost played Hurricane of Death when I meant to play Leg Shredder. I'm going to check a 1 on it anyways, so it's really good that I didn't play Hurricane of Death, because that would have made me look really stupid. We're going to destroy his only foundation again. Now we've got Hurricane of Death. I'm going to check a 3. We commit all the way out, but it's just fast enough. And just like that, we got a bracket reset 2-0. Won the Raptor Mirror 2-0. So we have to do the whole kit and caboodle all over again. That means we got to break out the character cards. We got to go through the ban phase. And we got to go through the pick phase all over again. I ban Nightmare. He's going to ban Terry. And now we're going to pick characters. And after I thoroughly, absolutely, indubitably whooped that ass in the Raptor Mirror, I thought for sure he was going to pick Shiva. I thought in my heart of hearts he would never play that matchup again. And because Shiva kills Raptors, I thought for sure he was going to pick Shiva. And Morrigan beats Shiva, most likely. Maybe it doesn't deal 40 damage that well, but, you know, I can play around the mill. I don't know. But I was pretty sure that Morrigan was better into Shiva than Raptor would be. And unfortunately, Jacob Monsieur did the next level absolute giga brain play of just picking the losing matchup again. I think he was never planning to play Shiva. Like even against what you call it? Even against other Raptors. Why didn't he build? Someone said why did he not build here? I played Morrigan. I blocked for half. What's going on? Oh, he played an attack. Never mind. Okay, yeah. He did fail the attack. I knew he wasn't going to build. So I got a cute little poke here. I'm trying to bait an attack out of his hand. But I also got a little bit of stat pumping. I'm going to end my turn there. But will he actually build foundations? Build an asset. There's our turn 3 build turn. Now that my character's ready, I've got the check hack. The -3 to the check was partially to prevent bullshit turn 1 attacking stuff like that. And I go to hard. This is probably where I make the biggest mistake, actually. I go to hard cast the Morrigan stack, and I checked a 3 on it because I didn't want to play any of these attacks and get breakered. My hand are actions, and all I've got is this Morrigan here, and I probably should have just played the time slow to gain health and held the reversal and the other blocks. But I did what I did. I checked what I checked, and I paid 3 health to hack his first attack check. And now we've got the flash throw coming in. I'm going to hack that check by 2, and that's going to make him discard. And now I get +2 to my next check because I can't use Morrigan's Enhance anyways. The biggest issue with this matchup is this entire fucking deck is meant to use Morrigan's Enhance for minus speed. And I'm never, ever going to get an Enhance step in this matchup. I don't think I have a way to seal attacks or get rid of keywords. So I don't think I will ever get a defensive Enhance at all. Hey, what's up, Zach? So Shadow Blade Shuriken was kind of neat. It was just one of the only flash attacks you could play, especially with a mid block at the time. It buffs your next attack that you play, and it does stuff when it leaves the card pool. But yeah, I'm never getting another defensive enhanced step. I'm gonna get +2 to my check. I didn't need it. I checked an 8 on this on a 6. And we are gonna gain 2, draw 2, which is tight. We get to play the reversal. Check a 6 on the reversal. And this is before Breaker applied a check penalty. So if Lord Raptor blocks and does a Breaker block here, it doesn't affect my check. It affects the difficulty of the next card I play. So him blocking my reversals with Breaker is not a big deal here. And we're going to get a little bit of chip damage in. But the problem is that Lord Raptor's defense is actually pretty sick. He's got Dust in the Wind here. And Dust in the Wind basically turns any speed bonus into a speed penalty. So, to be fair, Zach, I'm on 3 times speed. The chat is pretty active because this was like the biggest event, but I am on 3 times speed. So, there is quite a few unique names though. And this is also at like midnight. We're at like midnight at this point, like Pacific time. This is like 2 or 3 a.m. East Coast time at this point in the night. So, yeah, this was the biggest deal of COVID for universes. This was like the biggest fucking deal, maybe up to this point outside of majors, you know, like nationals and worlds. So this was the first time we ever played retro in an official capacity, as far as I know. It's the first time we ever had dope promo prizing. It was supposed to be the PTC promos for that year before they all got canceled. So they repurposed them into these retro prizes. You got pizza and hung out? That's sick. Oh, yeah, he was playing at the store. Yeah. Yeah, man. I played this on a rinky-dink laptop that cost like $80 and couldn't play Street Fighter 5 on lowest settings. This event changed a lot of people's lives, my own included, honestly. I think the event, like the retro series, changed a lot for me, honestly. It's kind of hard to quantify on the spot, but yeah. This was definitely like a ridiculous time in history, and a lot of stuff was changing in general. But yeah, he's starting to get the groove of the deck now. It didn't look like he really had a groove in the early games, but my Morgan deck has no pressure on him at all. And so he's got Soup Tech is huge. He's not drawn a lot of attacks, but he's got the Dust in the Wind, and he's got cards like Ophidiophobia, so I can't cheese him. You know, there's no real angle for me to actually hit this Lord Raptor. So even if Jacob doesn't want to play defense, just being alive, you know, just recognizing block zones, you know, is like the least he has to do. So I've got 4 attacks here, but I don't have any real hope of hitting him. I'm playing the Nouveau Soleil to feel like I got a less threatening move, I guess, and it's the least risky here. I want to hold my +0 blocks. I want to hold my 0 low for sure. I gave this +5 speed, and Dust in the Wind gave it -10 speed. So that's how powerful this one card is. And he's got ways to ready it, which I think he might have just done. Yeah. He's got ways. He's got 2. He's got Archon of Nirvana, or Archon and Nirvana. And then he's also got like ways to remove Leg Shredder to ready Dust in the Wind. So I have to fight through multiple Dust in the Wind triggers. I have an anti-breaker card. I can play this foundation that doesn't count towards progressive. But realistically, nothing in my hand should hit him, because he can tutor the right block zones. And as soon as he hits me with another breaker block, I don't have a way out. Right now, we really only have Rochester Retro events at regionals for something equivalent. Yeah, just playing Rochester Retro doesn't compare to this event. The wild format, yeah. Well, the opponent doesn't pick which two you're playing. Your opponent bans one and you only played one. That's my only beef. I've been saying it throughout the stream. My only beef is we should have just played actual Conquest. And I think that was everyone's feedback. And I think if it wasn't for card availability, Conquest being the default for Retro would help out with a lot of like squash matches and a lot of bad matchups. But it is a ridiculous ask, like a fucking stupid ask to ask people to bring 3 paper retro decks. So that's probably not what we should do. But it was cool that it was experimental, and this was the only thing happening in the game, and everyone was still, most people were still like, the game was still connected. Like playing retro didn't feel like I was playing the old version of the game, I was just playing this game with older cards. And you see a lot of these cards are pretty standard cards. Like Syndicate Target was standard, this card standard legal. One of the newest cards printed, standard, one of the newest sets. Maybe had just rotated from Capcom Platinum. Standard, so like these are still the sets that dominate retro to this day, are like the sets that came out right before this, the most recent sets. So with no enhanced step, I've got no ability to reduce the speed of these attacks. So I'm just blocking on like raw difficulty. And because I don't have the right block zone, he's probably going to keep pumping damage. And we've got Leg Shredder here, which is going to ready foundations for him. Yeah. So I think he sniffed out I don't have a high block, which sucks. So I'm going to keep blocking with mids. I'm going to check a 3 here. I get Breaker and I get to stack my deck. But I'm going to stack a noob because I think I need a 6 check. And unfortunately, his turn is over because of oh, never mind. We've got Superior Technique. This one's on a 5 and he checked a 4. And he gets to clear. He gets to clear the 2 cards from his card pool and draw 2 cards. Which he's still kind of bricked in. He's still not attacking, so I'm going to draw the noob anyways. But I definitely wanted to check that noob. And I think it's about this time where I'm really starting to doubt, like, can I even win this matchup? I don't think this deck can win. I felt good about Morrigan versus Nightmare, and I was pretty much wrong. And this time, I feel really bad about this matchup, and I think I'm 100% correct. So I'm not at all. This is one of the silliest fucking cards I put in this deck. This is like one of the retroest fucking retro cards. 2/5 no block. Gender female enhance remove, which means your character, they all had like blood and height and weight and stats and shit and gender on them. Gender female, remove this card from the game. If your attack deals damage, add 1 action card from your discard pile to your hand. This was my card to tutor Templar, and that's what I wanted. Yeah, you had to be gender female to play the enhance. And it's if your attack deals damage, I get to add Templar to my hand, or revoke, but probably Templar. And then enhance destroy. If your attack deals damage, you gain X vitality. X equals your attack's control. So most of the time, I'm going to be trying to get Templar because it also gains me health. But I might gain 3 health from dealing damage. But this is like one of the most random inclusions in the fucking deck. So Jacob's going to cycle. And that's probably my only chance, is because I don't have an enhanced step. I'm not milling myself. But at the same time, I'm at 7 health, so feels like a unset kind of thing. Oh, gender female, yeah. If we're talking about gender female, enhance destroy, this attack deals damage, gain health. Can't be what you're talking about. But yeah, gender female enhance, it felt weird. There was a lot of stuff like that though. There's like if your character's blood type is O. I think they wanted to do a Dimitri that did different things based on your rival's blood type for the character, but it would have been like too wordy. So stuff like that's kind of neat, but yeah, it's very archaic design, especially when you get into gender. And that's definitely one of the reasons they got rid of that shit with the remake, with the relaunch with MHA, is they did not want to put gender on some of those cards. And they didn't want Nutcracker to be a thing. You know, Nutcracker was so annoying. If your opponent is gender male, they take more damage because they have nuts. And they only put it on one of the two Nutcrackers. Like, come on. At least make both of the dick kicks like a dick kick. But yeah, you're going to see again like how absolutely fraudulent the offense in my deck is. I tried to gain health. He cancels my health gain. Chad's talking about how Jacob started reading his cards. Yeah, he had a bad start both games, but he's pulling it off now. But yeah, if you look at my hands, man, like I love that Tam has the hand cams here. But if you look at the hands, like I'm drawing like two attacks, and I think I've been holding this Firestorm like literally for fucking ever. And I just don't know why, man. Like at some point, I gotta just block with it at least. The block is not terrible, and it lets me play it next turn as an attack. So, but I'm getting to the point where I won't be allowed to block with it unless it's exactly Shadow Shuriken. And I'm getting to the point where I'm gonna get hit by a throw. If you notice, I guess we're just watching like Jacob's matches, right, and like my matches, but a lot of these decks will have like one throw in them. And that was a pretty common thing back in the day, at least in my experience, is that, you know, your opponent will make informed decisions about taking damage here and there and about taking half here and there, you know, and get whittled down when they can't do anything about it. And having a throw to like close out a game used to be pretty common. And there used to be, you know, good throws to do it, to play one big throw. Obviously, Jacob's Nightmare deck is like primarily throws. That was like a core strategy. So that used to be more common, and I don't think we've seen it in, you know, MHA Plus since, just because they really don't want throws to be like its own archetype. I'm trying to think. I feel like the reverse throw from set one, I guess, was people like kind of, you know, small card pool and people bringing that into MHA and trying to make it a thing. And then I think what was what's the Faith Shield throw? Not Piercing Thorn Lance. That's the non-throw. Heaven Piercing Ice. No, that's the freeze move. Whatever the Faith Shield throw was, that one I've seen people splash a bunch. Just never worked. Yeah, it hasn't really worked. Like I'm trying to think. I feel like the closest thing we had was Falling Skies, right? Falling Skies was like the closest we had to like a meta throw that's like something most decks will do, and I think Zero Gravity Lift maybe. But I think set one throws don't really count because it was like how many attacks do you have on your symbols? Creeping Vine Eruption, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah, Creeping Vine Eruption. I think I saw people try to include. I think most of that was because of how good Faith Shield is, though, not necessarily how good, you know, having a throw in your deck was. But I'm doing such a good job, too. Watching this back, it's not as bad as I thought. I remember just getting absolutely fucking smoked. And while I don't think I'm close to winning, Watching this back, I does Sam block? I don't know if you guys can read that. He's got a poll started that says, "Does Sam block?" Always, baby. I'll die on the partial if it means blocking an attack. So yeah, I'm gonna partial this with a noob, and I feel really good on this turn too. You know, it discards his attack from the card pool, but I get to zero out the printed damage of his next attack, which is sick. I'm gonna put -6 damage on this. He's gonna give it a little bit of damage back with Mind Trigger. He gets to draw one card, gain 2 health. Jawjammer is splashed. Yeah, Jawjammer is close. It's like shown up here and there, but it's like this really specific deck or like this symbol will play the one good throw and it's still like semi-successful. I wouldn't be surprised if Broberg had one or two in his Hanji. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't though. You know? But like every fucking evil deck played Vicious Madness. Every Earth deck played it. Most Fire decks that weren't all reversal based played it too. But they were pretty much reversal decks by this point. So now I've got Noob into Firestorm. I get +7 damage. That makes it for 14. I've got +4 speed. We're going to add even more, and I win game 1 again out of fucking nowhere. I'm a genius. I'm a genius on the scry, dude. I don't know how I did it. I remember just getting absolutely smoked. I don't even remember winning a game. I don't know how the fuck I did. Someone said if Sam sides into Siphitia, I quit. Side out your characters and put in the ominous prophecies? Probably, yeah. I don't remember winning a game truly in this matchup, but I won that shit completely out of nowhere. I was getting my ass super beat. My deck was totally shit, and Jacob walked into a hand trap at the wrong time. You know, he had a non-block in hand, so there really wasn't a reason not to play the attack and then try to draw something else. But yeah, I get the noob +1 attack plus a showtime, and that's 17 damage. Who's the person in chat shit talking Jacob? Which one, dude? Which one? It was like everybody. We both got shit talked whenever we played bad, dude. Where is it? Time for a drink. Yeah, at this point, Tam's chat wasn't set up very well. You can't see anyone's fucking name if they weren't like 2 letters. You could only see the message. My ass hurts. All my points on Jacob this game. Let's go. There's how Total Con. Total Con was on his side. Brainbrace, here comes the hate. So it looks like there was sideboarding too. The biggest problem Sam has is that he is not killing anyone if it isn't on a backswing. Yeah, but like backswinging's cool. Jacob has a lot to learn if he wants to be a complete player. I mean, probably true. That does sound like some like fake wisdom from some guy who just is trying to sound smart. You know, that sounds like a non-complete player probably saying that. Jacob Monsieur is a fantastic player. Oh, it was probably before this. Oh, I think he has a ton to learn if he wants to be a complete player. But like, it is up to him if he wants to expand beyond being a Viper. Like, I didn't know how to play anything other than Faye, and then I sat with Dave Wagner and picked Broberg's brain for 6 straight months and leveled up. That's definitely Christopher Bromley. That's like for sure a Christopher Bromleyism. Which Bromley's just mad that like Jacob only plays his whole hand in attacks like every time. He's mad that Jacob kept up mind triggers and not dust in the wind when he was not going to have cards in hand anyways. But he could have blocked my attack if he kept up dust in the wind. I don't know if he survives like 2 attacks, but he survives the one big one. And maybe he's thinking that Jacob doesn't recognize how uh maybe he thinks Jacob doesn't recognize how absolutely fraudulent my offense is. I don't know. I'm not sure. But Jacob is a Rottweiler, so I don't know. I think that's Jose. I don't know though. What is it? Wait, I'm trying to read the chat now. Now it's going fast. Uh, wait, you are betting on Sam? I think that might be the best help you could give Jacob. Oh shit. Nick Reagan's cursing me, bro. That's what it was. Nick Reagan was on final round this whole time. Nick Reagan fucked me over by betting on me, dude. That's what it was. And you're not wrong. I also hate the way Jacob plays the game, but it fucking works, dude. I played Jacob Monsieur's fucking one checks Nomu deck or the Hellfire Impalement Nomu deck at like whatchamacallit, the Standard Sunset event. So I guess it wasn't retro, but it was like Hellfire Standard Nomu, dude. That deck was fucking insane. I have no clue how it works, but it worked. The only reason I didn't play the top cuts was I had the fucking commentary the next day for nationals. Which I got fucked on that Standard Sunset too, by the way. They told me Templar was gonna be standard legal. And it was not. I guess he has 0 foundations now. It's 2:30 a.m. in the East Coast at this point in the game. Jacob Monsieur with the fabled double build that I've never seen him do in his fucking life, dude. I have never seen Jacob Monsieur double build unless he absolutely literally had to. And he had 3 attacks, 4 attacks in hand. I'm so proud of him, dude. See, that's the level up moment. As soon as Jacob Monsieur decided not to force it and just said, fuck it, I will build twice, he won this game. Because he's allocating his resources to the point where his deck will be the strongest. Instead of wasting those resources little by little, he is sculpting to when those resources are simultaneously or equally synergistic rather than, and look at that, he's rewarded for his due diligence, bro. He is rewarded with a stack of orange. Unfortunately, there's not going to be a ton of insight I can give you from here on out. I've talked about both of these decks enough throughout these 2 rounds. Um, But again, he is waiting until he has the correct setup. What he really needs is a damage pump from his stage, like the mind triggers, because he can pump the speed with his character, and he can do that repeatedly without me being able to fight around it, right, with my character enhances. But I have lots of 6 checks and lots of 0 block mods, so he wants the speed consistently from the character, but he does need some damage pump to make it annoying, and he needs those Azuna drops. He needs those flash throws to really make it work. But he is like playing a completely different game. He is playing a completely different pace, and you can see it's paying off like really well. He's poking once per turn to debuild me to keep me off pace, you know, because that's Lord Raptor's probably biggest strength that goes unnoticed. And even here, I believe I just failed the block on the kneecapper because it would have been for partial. It's not for that much health. And now that he sees that the low risk poke managed to deal, and he saw which zone I was trying to block with, now he's going in. Granted, I have another +0 mid, but you know, it was smart of him to make this play. But I'm gonna block here on a 7. He's still pumping speed, which is smart. In the last game, he kept putting damage on the leg shredders, which, while I wasn't completely blocking them, you're getting 1 bonus damage. If he had put the speed on him, I probably would have failed it and taken all the damage. So now he's got bonus damage into the next one. So even if I noob and like 0 it out, he's gonna be able to pump it back up to relevant damage. And this one's on a 5. You know, he's had like a great little string here. I'm still only going to be able to partial this, unfortunately. But we get the card pull clog. We've got the noob damage reduction. He's going to continue to build out. I do think the healed by a shaman should stay ready like at all times. Like an absolutely insane foundation. But this is what I got. This is my offense. My offense is Plant Barrier, which is a 4 mid 4 that says I can lose a life to debuild myself for a momentum, which I don't really use. I can't really use that. It's not really in the deck for that. And he's going to have an easy time just partialing this and feeling okay with it to review a non-attack card. I'm going to play another Plant Barrier because he has no mids except Shadow Shuriken, right? And I've already got Templar and Firestorm for that. So I'm just playing like easy little pokes. We're trying to whittle away at him. Uh, you know, I'm just trying to like deal 4 damage at a time, dude. I can't kill a 7-hander on demand. It's so sad. And I really thought that he was gonna pick Shiva, and I really thought it was gonna be like another easy win. And now I'm struggling. Now, granted, game 1 I was like, can I even win this? And I did. I felt a lot more confident, and that's why I've got the Firestorm, right? Firestorm's how I did it game 1. So I just gotta keep everything. I gotta keep the rails on the bus. I gotta keep the wheels on the bus. But I don't have a low block, and I don't have an enhanced step. I'm gonna pay 3 life to make him check a 0 on this, and he's gonna pay for it. He's gonna actually commit 4 for that, which I was not expecting. Which is really rough. It's really rough that it cost me health to do that. And now this is where things get crazy. This is where he's getting a ton of stats. You know, we got +4 here, +2 from like the Thrilled to Eat You. We've got, oh, here's Templar. Templar Save Me. Which I don't think it actually saves me, right? I go up to 7. I take 4, and then he responds to burn me for 2. No? Did I miscount? Is that not take 6? Trying to figure out. Does he? Oh, I think he flashes this. Does he flash this? Oh, he cancels it with Archeron and Nirvana. That's why he did it. He read the card. Yeah, he canceled my reversal and then just continues to smoke me. I don't know, how did I survive this? So I was at. Does Jacob just not remember to respond here and burn me for 2? Did I prevent that somehow? He's got double mind trigger. Oh, this isn't stinging. Oh, sorry, this isn't stinging upper. This is a hurricane of death. This is for 10, and I block it for half. That's on me. That's on me. This is a 10 damage move. It's not the one that burns for 2. This is the one that burns for 2. This is the one where if I take any damage from it, I burn for 2. And I did not draw a low block. So we're going to go to game 3. I don't have a better character, unfortunately. Playing Morrigan might count, but that would give up a ton of speed pump I'd have on offense. Playing the other Morrigan, I should say. I am playing Morrigan. Playing Morrigan 1 would give me a better response, but it would deny me the offensive speed pump. So, yeah, Jacob went to the bathroom here. So there's probably going to be a decent chunk until the next game. I'll just skip forward here. Now, this is a fucking sick opener for me. It's not going to matter much. But I got double over the top. Neither of these foundations count towards progressives. That's on a 3. That's on a 3. That's on a 3. Super build. You love to see it. And then he plays fucking Leg Shredder as the first card of the game. He's going to make me commit 1. He's going to make me destroy 1. And I have a low block in hand. So I just have to fucking eat it. I should have kept the 0 low, but I wanted to build more. But the 0 low can also gain me health. So I drew another one and I played it anyways to gain the health. So I kind of changed my mind there, which if you're ever changing your mind like that, if you ever see yourself choose not to make a play and then for some reason make it anyways, you probably made the wrong play at least one of those 2 times. You know, you either chose not to do it for a reason or you chose to do it for the, you know, despite choosing not to do it the first time, right? So just keep that in mind. That's probably stuff to learn from, but sometimes you end up with those hands, you know? Which I think it only gains me health in desperation is almost certainly the reason not to want to play it, but like, why did I then? And this is going to be the bane of my fucking existence. I don't think this deck had too many low blocks in it, and low blocks were definitely like the worst of them. And I reviewed one and I fucking played one, and then I didn't hold one. So this is 100% on me. Like, this is just me playing like dog shit, and not recognizing exactly how bad of a fucking matchup this is. But yeah, I'm already at 16. I went first. I'm at 16 after 2 attacks. This is absolutely dreadful. This time I don't even draw a low block. I finally get tired of holding the firestorms, and I check a 6 on it, which is badass, by the way. But it's a do nothing attack. It does fuck all of anything on offense, especially in this matchup. But I'm gonna mill a fucking noob and get +6 speed. It's 10 high for 7, baby. That's the best offense this deck does most of the time. I could have played a noob in front of it and like really tried to go for lethal, but he would have flashed it. And it would have been a 4 high for 14 and, you know, not that impressive. Once I got to this point, though, I probably should have. Oh, here it is. Yeah. So I get to this point here where I give it similar to the first game. I give it the +9 speed, and I'm gonna give it +9 damage. But he's got the Taguro brothers anyways, which feels super bad there to lose that foundation. Luckily, he has to draw a card, but the card he draws a +1 mid. And yeah, he's going to -3. I think he can do another -2 with Thrilled to Eat You. This is still on a 10-11. Yep, Leg Shredder. That's going to ready another one. So now it's down to 8 speed, which is still really good. But he's got Ophidiophobia, which says if he mid-blocks this, he takes no damage. And what looked like a really solid attack, what looked like maybe, you know, one of the best attacks I can play, turned into 0 damage, lost one of my best offensive foundations. It doesn't really do anything in this matchup defensively, though it's normally a defensive powerhouse too. But I just lost like one of my, man, I just lost so much there. And he still has the flash up. He's got the Breaker 2 on me. I think that's why I started to play a 4 diff or a 3 diff on a 4. What was I trying to play there? Those high seas, right? Oh no, it was Nouveau Soleil. I'm thinking about the Nouveau Soleil because I'm like, I gotta get damage in somewhere. But I can't do it through the Breaker 2, man. If I had any other damage pump, I could play the noob into any attack with damage pump. I did check a 6. I did know I was going to check a 6. We only have to commit 1. He's not going to flash the Nouveau Soleil. I don't know why it got committed, though. I don't know why I played the noob there either. I guess I got tired of holding a mid, but the noob is solid there. Was I trying to play the time slow and I just checked bad? Yeah, okay, that's what it was. I was going to try to play time slow for game. Where if I check a 5 and then another 5, I just have game. So I was 1-5 check away from winning theoretically, which is way closer than I thought. I don't remember this game going anywhere near this good for me, having any kind of fucking chance, and I really shouldn't. Like, you can see like the kind of goofy ass, wacky shit this deck has to do to even present like a 10 damage move, much less, you know, play more than 2 of them in a turn. I don't think I lose here because he doesn't have that many attacks in hand, but I could be wrong. He doesn't have healed by a shaman out, which is normally when you know you're losing is when they have multiple healed by a shaman. I end up failing. I fail my +1 block because he's got +2 speed. This is on a 6. I check a 3, miss by 1. He's got the superior technique on a 4. Gonna draw 2. Oh, maybe I do just get smoked here. Now I have double high block in hand, and he has double low attack, but they're like the 2 worst lows in the deck. But if they get blocked, they clear from the card pool, and he starts paying for mind triggers. So mind trigger says check a 4, you get +1 damage, and he gives his +2 speed, which was fast enough last time. and he absolutely needs the mind trigger damage on both of, or on at least one of these. So paying for it early kind of makes sense. But I have to see what he does here because this is his last attack. He has to choose. He has to choose to give this +2 damage and hope that a +3 low attack does not get blocked at all. And he's going to pass the mind trigger. He's going to remove 2, and he gives it the 2 speed. And I feel so good, dude. I'm like, hell yeah, brother. And then I remember fucking Showtime gives +3 damage, which makes this for like 8. And I block from my stage with the asset. I forgot I had this asset just sitting here, which is a +1 mid. If I block with it, I only take 1. He gets to clear that from his card pool, and I survive 1 more turn. But I'm so running out of options. But I'm thinking to myself, dude, if I just draw a noob, if I get a firestorm and like one other card, if I can do any kind of, bonus damage, but realistically I'll have to play 2 attacks and they'll have to go unblocked, and I straight fucking brick. I completely brick. I get a fucking enhance cancel against the deck that doesn't play them offensively. I drew a low block that burns me for 1, and I have high block, mid block left. Ominous Prophecy does get rid of flash attacks, but I have to name it at the beginning of the turn. So I can name the keyword. I'm going to name flash. Everything loses flash for the turn. But Lord Raptor can pump the stats of any attack. It doesn't have to be a flash attack to get stats. But he's just going to take the turn off. I'm like, yep, I bought myself another turn. Ominous Prophecy did exactly what I wanted it to do. I am on borrowed time, but it's going to be my turn. And he can only flash one of my attacks. What does that say? Wait, what does Jacob's sign say? Does something count? Oh, weapon count? Something. The East Coast? 3 a.m. on the East Coast. It's like 3 or 3:30 a.m. on the East Coast. I don't know if Zach remembers. Do you remember what time it was? I drew 2 attacks. Neither of them equal. They don't total up to lethal damage without the owl shield. So now I have high, mid, low, but I have a combo in my stage to let me gain 9 health. I don't feel super confident here, but I do feel better. The problem is, to do that 9 health combo, I need 1 fucking enhance step. I need to do 1 enhance and 3 responses. 3 a.m. sounds about right. Yeah, it was late even for you, yeah. I paid 3 health to make him. I paid 3 health to make him pay for the 6 diff. He gets to remove Leg Shredder to ready stuff. Block with my 0 block mod. I lose 1 health. I'm down to 1. And now I just need him to play. Oh, I play a reversal because I'm a fucking prankster. Oh, I know why. I played the reversal because if I get the fucking enhanced step from my own reversal, I can gain 6 health and I can maybe tank 1 attack. Like I can tank like 1 kneecapper if he fails a mind trigger or something. Because if I go up to 7, mind triggers no still like exactly like I can partial something, But that's why I did that. I tried to reversal him specifically so I could gain some health. And that's going to do it. He plays a mid when I have a high. And the chat saying gets an E-step again, trying to gain life. Big sad, wild ride. Yeah, I should have played Morgan 1 maybe. I don't know, but I thought the offense would have been better. But the main thing is I never in my life never, never thought that I would play against his Lord Raptor again. I thought for sure he was going to go into Shiva. And like 3 different times in this event, I told myself, I just don't play Morrigan after the first round. And then I did, and it cost me each and every time. I want to hear what Tam and Broberg said at the end, though.
From the bottom to the top, back to the bottom to the win. Wow. Wow. Big surprise. What
not
a
Broberg.
wild ride.
Bill.
What a wild ride.
Wow.
Jacob, great job. Sam, you did it. You did a good job as well.
Good
Second
run.
place, got the run back. And
Good
this guy
run.
had to learn how to play Lord Raptor
Wait, what?
on the fly.
Let's.
Great job as well.
Good
Second
run.
place, got the run back. And this guy had to learn how to play Lord Raptor on the fly.
Let's go. That was absolutely amazing. Wow.
On
What
the fly, he says. Yeah, I got it. No problem. I'll just figure it out right now. It's not even an issue.
a crazy Raptors dumb? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Or maybe that Morgan deck just maybe Sam did a little bit too much thinking.
Yeah.
I think if Sam
Totally.
does the Raptor mirror again, I think it's
Easy. Easy.
That's the
Simple.
nicest way Phil could have put it.
Yeah.
all hail the King of Retro.
The King of Retro.
Jacob, great job. Congratulations.
The truest answer is that Morgan deck sucked ass. The Morgan deck was absolutely fucking wrong. And Phil Birch was being incredibly nice there. You had no idea this match was against me until years later. Oh, you never were around when Jacob, like, loved to remind me about it, like, every fucking event we both went to for years? Including when I borrowed his Nomu deck? Oh, man. Yeah, this was me in the finals. I didn't, like, top a whole bunch of events until Retro Series, and I, did okay in MHA topping and stuff, but yeah, that's the story. Basically, is I won so hard in the Raptor mirror that I thought for sure we would never play the Raptor mirror again, which means I can't play Raptor into Shiva, because what Shiva does is clog your card pool by 3 cards at the start of the turn, and then she can give her attacks like +4 damage by discarding one. So, and she plays like big throws. So even if you block and break her 2, she's like playing 1 attack per turn. She's a 4-hander, so she doesn't do a whole lot per turn. But she squishes 7-handers, and at the time she had Diamond Crusher, which gave you +4 damage for each face down in the card pool. They errated it before banning Shiva, and then had to anyways. If you look at the printed, +4 damage for each face down card in the opponent's card pool. So this is 18 damage in Shiva. She can discard one of the face downs to give it +4 more. So this is effectively 8 high for 22. And it also has enhanced commit one of your opponent's foundations. If it's face down, add it to their card pool. So if you have a flip effect and then you play Diamond Crusher, you can effectively, because if you count the D build one as 1 speed, the card pool clog is 1 speed, and then the fact that there's still 3 cards in the card pool, it's a 10 high for 22 1 card combo. So that's the reason I didn't want to play a Lord Raptor against Shiva. That's kind of what Shiva was really best at the time, was killing the Lord Raptors that were like on almost everybody's team. And he outplayed me completely. I don't know if he thought that it was like, I need to do the opposite of what he expects, or if he just said, I really don't want to play Shiva. I really don't know. I don't know if I ever even asked him. Maybe I should ask him. Maybe that's content. But I thought for sure that it was going to be a completely different matchup, and I got fucking sauced. And my Johns will forever be that if we had just played normal Conquest, I would have not tricked myself into playing that Morrigan deck. But the Morrigan deck had more sauce than I remember, and it did better than I remember. But I don't remember it coming that close to winning. So it's cool to relive this, and I hope it was exciting for you guys. I hope if you're watching this over the holidays on YouTube, you drop a like, share, subscribe. Go like Tam Cardwell. Go watch his stuff. He still makes content, right? Like, I mean, I don't know. That's not like he doesn't make content. I just mean like this is a different channel completely, actually. Oh no, this is on Tam Cardwell's. What was the other one? Was on the TCG University. Whoa. Some of these are on the TCG University channel. So that's why I got schmicks. Like if you type in UFS Retro Series, some of them are TCG University. So, you know, definitely check those out too. Those are like the really old ones that Tam worked on before he had his own channel and stuff. And there's a surprising amount of them. There's just, you know, none of the ones that I won, but I'm not salty. He basically said he wanted to play Nightmare, so he brought what everyone assumed was the two most broken things and never considered he'd have to play anything other than Nightmare. Yeah, that sounds about right. He got me in the first round. I let him play Nightmare, and I was fucking wrong, dude. I was fucking wrong. You know, I knew I wasn't going to get to play Terry, so I brought Lord Raptor, which I was playing all day, and then the Morgan deck that I wasn't supposed to play after round one, and then I played all day like an idiot. So, you know, it is what it is. I don't think anyone let me play Terry, though. If I did, it was like definitely not on stream, but I'm pretty sure everyone banned Terry by that point. But yeah, this was a lot of fun to rewatch. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it wasn't like a full like retro breakdown, and you might not really understand what's going on. But if you guys want to see stuff like that, I can definitely do that. I hope you're having a happy holiday. Other than that, I'll see you tomorrow for the 12th day of Acemas. I gotta get headed out now, but I'm hoping to cook up something a little heartfelt, a little special for you guys. And I hope you get everything you wanted for Christmas this year, or, you know, whatever holiday you happen to be celebrating. So I'll see you guys tomorrow for the 12th day. I love you all.